Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel review anything and everything. And just doing a second part to the little rant that I did while I was building the putting together the like Razor Crest. And I'm not gonna do any additional building at this point. You can see I kind of skipped along ahead, doing some building. And I just wanted to comment about how um the gun rack that's supposed to go here, weapons rack is supposed to go here, just put like two 1x2 plates, um, because I wanted to create a gun rack because I know that the Mandalorian, obviously, in the show, he has his own gun rack. Now, this is not a huge or major gun rack, it's pretty small, but um, I wanted to just, use the clip pieces. I don't have extra clip pieces, so I use the ones that would normally be there, which is just two of them. In addition, this is the Snow Troopers um, gun. The small one and the big one is obviously the Mandalorian's rifle. But I figured a good place that it could go, assuming that it works out that way after I get done with the build, is I could put it right here. This is the reason I built it on a 3x1 stud setup, is I can put it right there. And I think that's I don't think it's going to be in the way of anything when that time comes. So you could see here. And I want it to be against that wall because, a lot of the um, either any kind of form of medium of the Razor Crest, whether it's other models or anything of the sort, other kind of toys, always kind of keeps it on that back row where the uh, carbonite freezing is going to be, and the wall is over there. Now, some people I've seen put it against a door that goes over this way, but I don't want to block the door. Even though some people have done that, and I think that's kind of like one of the areas that it normally would be on the ship, but I don't want it to be blocking the door. So that's what I kind of did with it, and so I'll see how that pans out when I get further into the build. But obviously, it's kind of cool that it's detachable if I need it to be. So it's just a quick mock-up, but just in general, you know, um, so far the build is coming along. I've seen some people do some mods where they got rid of this thing, which is a full square setup that you have to have pieces for that, and it came out nice. But I'm not going to be able to do that because I don't have the available pieces for that. Essentially, you need two 8x1 long beams that are the Technic type, and you would do them manually, like separately, not in this whole big square because there's a full one piece that goes in like that. If anyone's familiar with the build, um, to eliminate this, so I'm not going to be able to do such a thing like that. So I'm just going to kind of stick along with the build and maybe make some minor, upgrades if I can. But I'm definitely enjoying the interior space. But what's interesting that I noticed is obviously right now you're getting a chance to really see the frame of it all, which once the build is complete, you're not really going to be able to see all this as clear as you can now. But essentially, one thing that I thought was interesting is, so this is roughly, let me count up the length on this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17 studs long. The interior of the Ghost, up from the base of the steps. If you guys are familiar where that is, at the front part of the ship in the interior, the base of the steps going all the way to the back is around 16, and it's 8 studs wide, as just as much the same as this is, even though obviously some of this space is not really usable. But then again, so is the situation with the Ghost as well, with certain things that are, you might have, are in the area, even though this is not movable, some of these beams and stuff of that sort. But um, so it's just interesting because this ship, and like I said it in the past, it reminds me of a RV, like almost like a space RV, because it's so long, and it has that kind of sense, like, this is where you drive. This is like, could be sleeping areas, just cargo. But this is very much, a like an RV kind of setup, the way I view it. And it's interesting because obviously the Mandalorian uses it in that same way, like an RV, like you travel in, you sleep in it. So it's funny, but I just think of it like that. But um, Space wise, what I wanted to get at, and I'm going to do this when I do the review and comparison when I finish this build. But space wise, it's very interesting because though this has, this kind of general slim or long layout, and then you have the engines on the side here, whatnot. The Ghost is essentially the same layout when it comes to interior space. You have the cockpit area of the Ghost, which is going to be like up front. I have the Ghost right over here, but just kind of imagine it. I'm not going to change the angle of the camera right now, but you have the cockpit area of the Ghost, which is kind of like up here. You have the front gunner area, and then the upper captain seat, if you will, and then after that comes those steps, and then the interior part, which is long and has essentially, like I said, around the same length down here. Um, and that's pretty much, so it's almost like this whole thing right here is can be fit right into the Ghost's space in terms of like that layout. So it's very interesting. But because this the size of the Ghost and all the other parts of the build that cannot be used, it makes it feel like it should be a bigger ship. Whereas this one is a very slim profile, so it feels um, like it's fitting for the space that it has. But in addition to that, because you have the space on this side and on the other side, which is the bed area, the sleeping quarters, it actually ends up being a total of more interior space than the Ghost, because the front area of this, including the top cockpit area, the lower bed area, the other side for like weapons space or cargo area here, which a person could actually get rid of that if they wanted to, but I don't really see too much that you could fit in there beyond that. But nonetheless, my point with it is that this whole area here, even if you said this part was comparable to the Ghost right here, this part is definitely equates to more space than the cockpit of the Ghost's area, which is a lot more crammed than this and the bottom combined. So it's interesting that space wise, you're getting more space from this ship than you are from the Ghost. But we're going to get into that more when I end up doing the full comparison. And I know that this is skeletonized out right now, but this lower area here has a lot of, it feels very open because it's open right now. But I feel that, I don't know if it's because of how deep the walls are into the Ghost. It does feel a little bit more cramped for having similar amount of space, and you can keep it clean and gut it out with nothing in it on the Ghost, and it will feel probably just as roomy. Where this, obviously, it feels roomy because you can't really put that much into it. Even though if a person started doing things like maybe putting a seat or something like that, I could definitely see that, and maybe I might do something like that. Though it will get into the way of you putting your fingers in for moving things around and affecting things, but I definitely want to take a look at what the interior of the Razor Crest looked like in media to see some of the little details that might be around the same way I built the little gun rack. If I'm not mistaken, when the Mandalorian had those pirates, if you will, on his ship when they were going to the prison, I think that they were all sitting down in seats against the wall here and were strapped in. So I'm not sure. So maybe I might put some extra seats there. But I'm not really too sure. So I'm gonna, kind of look at some media before I get into it. But I just want to get into that little bit of rant right there. And I'm very much looking forward to doing this comparison when this is done versus the Ghost. I'll catch you guys in the next video.